Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Nick from ForexForNoobs.com with the daily analysis. Today is Tuesday, the 6th of October 2020, and the time is 10 a.m. here in the UK. You are looking at a GBPUSD daily chart. Today's analysis, we're going to be looking for price action setups across all of these pairs listed to the right here. So let's just dive right in. Hi Martin. Hi Colin. Charles Dennis. If anyone confused that, Dennis is Italian, so I switched to Italian with him. For those who don't know, I am also Italian, not Australian, because I was kind of born in Australia, but both my parents are Italian, so I don't know what that makes me. Sì, parlo italiano. Oopsie, accidentally opened that up. Alrighty. Let's get into the analysis. GBPUSD. So, how are we going to do today's analysis? Because there's a lot to cover. There is a lot to cover, guys. A lot. First thing, why is my thing being all weird? First thing I want to go over is the news. We've got some kind of stuff that's interesting happening this week. And, you know, when I talk about news, I say the stuff that you have to most worry about is when people are speaking. So when there's important speeches happening, that's what you have to worry about the most. And this week is just full of important speeches. So today we got Fed Chairman Powell speaking. Tomorrow we've got Lagarde speaking. I don't know how to say his name, but close enough. FOMC meeting minutes is also coming out tomorrow, which is another thing. Like, it's the minutes of a meeting. So even though it's not someone that's speaking tomorrow at 7 p.m., it's a kind of record of the conversation that happened at the meeting, at the FOMC meeting. So it's essentially people speaking still. Then we got Governor Bailey speaking. Then we got Governor Macklem speaking. So it's a whole lot of people speaking. So do watch out this week for some kind of like bumpy, some bumpy price action, I would say. Yeah, Colin, that's right. I'm a dual citizen, dual passport, and I think I can apply for my British passport now too, but I think I might have to give up one of my citizenships, which I ain't gonna do. So, now that the news is covered, let's get into last week's trades, which is another thing we need to discuss. So I closed out all trades for the weekend, and I advise that you guys do the same because, you know, I was afraid of big spikes over the weekend, especially with the news about Trump being sick and all that kind of stuff. Like, you just don't know what's going to happen with the US dollar at the moment. There's a lot of craziness going on in the US. So my advice was essentially close out your trades for the weekend until after this election. And that's what I did. I closed out my trades for the weekend. I advised everyone to do the same, and I think most of you did. So last week's trades, how they all ended in profit, so that's good. But they weren't at their maximum target. So basically, Friday was the 2nd of October. So this candle here. Basically, it was closed out. This trade was closed out around here. So it's unfortunate that it wasn't at its maximum target, but I just didn't really see any reason to hold over the weekend. I thought it was too risky, and it was too risky. Sure, had I kept GBPUSD open, it would now be getting closer to my maximum target. But overall, the risk of holding trades over the weekend at a time like this, it's just not worth it. New Zealand USD, that wouldn't have progressed any further. Euro AUD, that would be back at its entry had you kept this one open. So that one would have basically gone from a pretty good trade that you could have closed out, I don't know, somewhere around here, to essentially a well, not so much a loss, but just, well, it could be a loss depending on where you would have closed out. If your stop loss was at break even, you would have got out at break even. New Zealand JPY, that's another trade we had. Had you closed that one on Friday, you would have got out, I don't know, around about here. Just depends when you exited 1.57R. Had you left it open, you might have got out with a bit more. You might still be in this one, I don't know. It's pretty much at the same spot it was on Friday, so this one wouldn't have made much of a difference, nor would AUDJPY, wouldn't have made any difference. AUD CAD, it's turned back around, so you would have been worse off than you were if you closed out on Friday. So yeah, some of them you would have been better off holding over the weekend, technically speaking, but the risk was too high in my estimate. And I would highly recommend just closing out all trades until after the election. The problem with being in trades during the weekend is that if something big happens over the weekend, like for example, Trump dies of COVID, or, you know, whatever. I know it's a bit of an extreme example, but anything can happen over the weekend. At a time like this, especially when things are very, very sensitive, you can lose 3, 4, 5, 10 times the size of your stop loss. You can get slipped so badly on a trade over a weekend that it takes out like 50% of your account. It's possible. It's not unheard of. It has happened. Do you know when it happened? I'm sure most of you who have been trading a while remember this event. Where's USD CHF? Back 2015, January. Wait, that wasn't over a weekend though, was it? I can't remember anymore, was it? Just gonna quickly consult my calendar. January 15th. No, that was a Thursday. Right, so I guess it's not the best example because it wasn't over a weekend, my bad. But still, this could theoretically happen over a weekend, especially at a time like this where the market is so sensitive because of this upcoming election. So yeah, close out over weekends, guys. That's my advice. Take it from someone who's been doing this for 20 years. Times like this, you don't want to mess around. You don't want to take chances when you can lose like 10, 20% of your account or more than that, just because you want to be greedy and try to make an extra 0.5% on a trade by holding over the weekend. Anyway, back to the analysis. That covers last week's trades. Now, let's look for some potential new setups, but I don't think there are many. Spoiler alert, I don't think there are many. First one I shared in Monday's analysis, which was a written-only analysis for the forum members, looking for AUDUSD to pop up to this resistance area for a potential short from resistance. AUD New Zealand, this is not. This is actually an active trade that I'm not personally in. You know what? Let me clean up this list real quick. Honestly, didn't know there was a hotkey for this. And the hotkey doesn't work. Alright, it's left alt. That's an awkward hotkey. Screw it. It's easier doing it that way. Just going to clean up this list a little bit. Right, so AUD New Zealand's an active trade. I'm not in this one. This one was shared to the forum by someone else, so I'm watching it closely. That way I could advise people in the forum how to manage the trade. I'm not in this one. I believe yesterday in the forum, it was turning around. It was getting back up close to the stop loss, but I gave some advice saying to hold on to it. I hope you guys did hold on to it. Martin, to answer your question, generally speaking, I would close around about New York Open, yeah. Around about the time New York opens is when I'm closing out my trades for Friday. Sometimes I hold it till the end. There's no 100% rule of what time to close on Friday. Just close by the end of day. But generally speaking, I'm closing before New York Open because that's around lunchtime in the UK. So if I can just close out all my trades around lunchtime, then I can start my weekend around then. So that's my thinking behind it. AUD New Zealand currently open trade, not by me, but open by members. So there it is. Not going to do anything with USD CHF anymore. Let's look for some new setups. Right, AUDJPY, quite interesting. I want to see I want to look for a potential short if it approaches this resistance area. So much like AUDUSD, waiting for it to approach resistance. It's not quite there yet. So CADJPY, I'm sort of interested in this one. I shared this one in yesterday's analysis also. Just waiting for a push up to resistance. I'm adjusting this this area up to here to be more in line with these bounces that happened recently. And with that adjustment, there is a potential short trade here, but it doesn't look like, it looks like it's turning around already, but, so I know it doesn't look like a potential setup right now, but just imagine how this candle could look like at the end of the day. If it pulls back up and closes here, then this candle would look something like this. It would be a nice little indecision candle, at which point we could set an entry there, stop loss maybe here, and a target down here for a nice little short trade. So there is some potential there. It looks like it's going to head down before that, but who knows? It could pull back up by the end of the day. So let's just keep a close eye on that one. GBPJPY, this one's a bit of a long way off, but I'm definitely very interested in shorting from this resistance area up here, the 13800. So I am going to keep a close eye on this one for a potential short. I know this looks like curve fitting, me just throwing up a resistance area at an indecision candle. I know it looks like I'm just kind of trying so hard to find trades that I'm placing, because I've done this twice already, that I'm just placing resistance areas where I see price stalling in order to justify a trade. But that's not what I'm doing. It actually does make sense to place a resistance area here. We had a very recent strong bounce. If you look back here, we had another recent bounce. And then if you look back further, you can see that this has in fact been a decent resistance area for some time. Now, I don't know why I didn't have a resistance area there. I think maybe I accidentally removed it and it was there before. I need to check back and see if that is the case. But either way, even if I didn't have it there before, it definitely is valid resistance, and we are seeing price stall on valid resistance right now. So, oh, you know what? I think I had this marked as a minor area previously. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter that much. there is definitely potential for a short trade here, is what I'm trying to say. So let's keep an eye on GBPUSD for a potential short trade. But I think I had this marked as a minor resistance area last week. And now with this bounce that happened here, I'm upgrading it to a major resistance area because it's definitely an active resistance, and it does make sense to look out for a potential short from this resistance area. So there's actually more potential stuff happening than I expected. When I looked yesterday, there really wasn't that much, but adjust this resistance on USD CAD a little bit. And that is everything I'm looking at. So let's do a quick summary. AUDUSD and AUDJPY, they're very similar. I'm just looking for a push up to the next resistance area for a potential short from that resistance area. So AUDJPY and AUDUSD, it's basically the same setup I'm looking for, just a push up to resistance. And actually CADJPY is on that list too, although this one's a little bit closer to happening. I just want price to push up to that resistance area for a potential short there. EURJPY has already done what I'm wanting to see on AUDUSD, AUDJPY, and CADJPY. It's already pushed up to resistance, and it's stalling out at resistance. Now the question is, will it turn around right now, or is it going to stall out today? You could theoretically enter this trade on like the 8 hour. You could already be in a short here on the 8 hour. Now I'm going to wait for the daily because I find it safer. But there's nothing saying that you can't take the riskier option and trade this as a short on the 8 hour. You could technically get in right now. The benefits of trading this on the 8 hour are that you're way less likely to miss the trade. If today price drops down and makes its way down to this support area, or not even today, just over the next 48 hours, it pushes down and makes its way to the support area. If I'm waiting for price to close as indecision on the daily, I've missed that trade because it's turned around way too fast for me to take the trade. So the benefits of trading the 8 hour or the 6 hour, just any of these smaller time frames, are you're way more likely to catch the trade. I usually go for the safer option, which is waiting for it on the daily, which means I'm less likely to miss a trade, but I'm more likely to miss a trade, but I'm less likely to get faked out. And getting faked out basically means you've entered on the 8 hour, price dips down a little bit and then continues up. So you've got faked out, you've lost that trade. Whereas on the daily, if that happens, I've never got into this trade because it hasn't really triggered yet on the daily. It's just started moving up. So it saved me from taking a bad trade. Saving yourself from a bad trade is not necessarily the best option though. Sometimes it makes sense, but sometimes it's better to take 20 trades and have 10 of them fail, 10 of them be profitable, than it is to take 5 trades and have 2 of them fail and 3 of them be profitable. As a bit of an extreme example, it wouldn't be 20 and 5. It'd be more like taking 20 trades and having 10 of them fail, 10 of them be profitable, versus taking 10 trades and having 6 of them or 7 of them be profitable and 3 of them fail. Doing the daily, you'd be taking 10 trades with a higher win rate, but that's not necessarily better because you're taking less trades, and overall it might end up being less profit. I just do it because it's less stressful, it's easier, and I don't really have the need to take a lot of trades. So I'll leave it up to you to decide what option you want to take. I'm waiting for the daily. If you want to enter on the 8 hour, you could jump in right now here with a stop loss here and a target, minimum target here at 2.5R, and you could potentially extend that target all the way down. Well, no, the minimum target would technically be 2R, but you do have a pretty clear run down to 2.5, which is down here where it stalled and turned around last time, and you could potentially extend that all the way down to the support area. So there you go. GBPJPY price is making a strong move to resistance, so let's just wait for it to hit resistance for a potential short. GBPUSD, now this one is probably and this one's imminent, unlike most of these other ones. This one could actually, I don't know why that didn't move. I tried to move that to the top of the list. So yeah, I'm putting this at the top of the list because this one could actually trigger tomorrow morning on the daily. If this closes as indecision, I'll be looking for a short tomorrow morning on the daily chart from this resistance area. I think this one does have some pretty decent potential. So yeah, I'll keep track of that. All right. GBP CAD, the short trade that some people took. It was not a bad setup. It was a decent setup. It looked something like this. I didn't enter this one myself, and I didn't really share this one, but I know some of you were looking at it and took it. It shot down really, really quickly. I believe it was in reaction to some Brexit news, if I remember, and it has since gone back up. I don't really see much reason to hold on to this trade. It's not in a bearish trend, so you don't have the trend on your side. It's not in a bullish trend. Technically, it kind of is, really, if you zoom out far enough. But it's not really a bullish trend. It's more like it's just ranging for the past few months. So it's ranging. It's not in a trend. If it was in a bearish trend, I would say it makes sense to hold on. That's why I suggested holding on to AUD New Zealand yesterday, because it was starting to trend down. So I was saying you may as well hold on to it, stick with that trend. But GBP CAD is not in a trend. So you have nothing that's supporting the bearish move right now. The bearish move that happened was very brief in reaction to news. And then it's since pulled back up. It hasn't really gone any lower since. If you look at the lower lows, which are lower highs, lower lows. Well, basically, let's say in a bullish move, you're going to see higher highs. In a bearish move, you're going to see lower lows. We're not seeing higher highs right now, but we are seeing higher lows. This is all confusing. Higher lows, higher highs, lower lows, lower highs. The point is, I'll try to explain this as simply as possible. The lows are getting higher. So the lows each day are getting higher. What that means is today's low is higher than yesterday's low. Yesterday's low is higher than the day before's low. The day before is higher than that low, so on and so forth. So that is a sign that buyers are in control of price, because sellers or bears cannot push any lower than they did the previous day. Now, we aren't seeing higher highs. The highs are equalized. So each day's high is not consecutively higher than the previous days. They're equalized. But still, there's nothing really good here for sellers. There's nothing that says bears are in control of price. If anything, bulls would be more in control. So yeah, I don't really see any compelling reason to hold on to this short trade. Hopefully that answers your question. Are there any other questions, guys? All right, it doesn't look like there's any questions, so I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys very much for attending, and I'll see you for tomorrow's analysis, which should be at 10 a.m. also. If there's any questions in the meantime, feel free to email me. I mean, if you're a member of Forex Mastermind. I don't really do one-on-one trading help if you're not a member, just because it would take too much time. But if you're a member, feel free to email me or just reach out on the forum or on Skype, and I'll help you out. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.